Come on, Annie. Let's go to the movies.
This is the Cinereelists, episode 541. My name is Kyle.
And my name is Zach.
And we're here to talk about movies, movie lists, and movie obsession for the next hour or so. Zach, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Good to be back.
It's good to see you back. Yeah.
I was here last week.
You were here. You were gone last week. You missed The Gray Man. Have you had a chance to see it yet?
I saw like the first half an hour and then I fell asleep.
Okay. So you're in the James camp of this movie then?
I think I wanted to keep watching, although
Okay.
it looked completely forgettable. But I was just tired.
You're just tired. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you plan on finishing it?
I do.
Okay.
I actually put it back on a night later on and I fell asleep again. So it might just be the movie that I fall asleep to now.
What time are you watching this movie?
Bedtime.
Okay, so that's probably one reason why.
Yeah.
Do you watch it in bed?
Yes.
Do you have a TV in your bedroom?
Yes.
Do you fall asleep to that TV every night?
No, only
Okay.
when I put on The Gray Man.
Only, so you've gone 39 years of not falling asleep to the TV until now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Normally I do not fall asleep on the TV. I used to fall asleep to podcasts.
Yep.
My wife would make fun of me because I would very often listen to the Supreme Court opening arguments. And
Well, that would put me to sleep too.
I found them so interesting. I'd get annoyed that I fall asleep because I wanted to listen to them.
Okay.
And my wife would be annoyed because at first they sound very boring, but then she would stay awake and get really into it. And then she like, but what happened with the price of peas? You know, there'd be some random court case where farmers were arguing. And so she would get really into it.
I used to fall asleep to podcasts also. Nothing as intense as Supreme Court opening statements. But once me and my now wife moved in together, she was like, no, I can't have, she needs silence to fall asleep too. So
Okay.
that ended the podcast rate, which is probably for the best.
I can just pretty much fall asleep at any time under any circumstances. That's pretty much how it is.
Perfect.
So I
Nice.
can't weigh in fully on The Gray Man yet.
Okay, so you need probably 3 or 4 more nights before you can form a full opinion.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, so no James this week. I think he's having a boys' weekend
Okay.
or a men's weekend. I'm not sure how he wants to phrase it. Dudes-
Stag do.
A stag. Yeah, but are there families there? I don't know if there's families or just the guys are there.
I don't know anything about what he's doing. I think
Okay.
on your podcast he said he's hanging out with high school friends.
That's correct. Yep.
Nice.
I just don't remember if it's just high school friends or if it's like high school friends and their families.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay.
You know, we'll find out next week.
Well, I hope they're having fun.
They most likely are.
Yeah, so I'm excited to be on this episode with you, Kyle.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
and we're not doing our normal Kyle Zach discussion episode.
Yeah, why not?
I don't know. Like we just kind of decided we do Nope, and then I was thinking about that last night. I'm like, oh wait a minute, we normally
Missed
just
opportunity.
do some not weird discussion, but you know, we kind of get into it. So, you know, talk about movies and decades and make rash decisions about the skills of Ryan Gosling and Brad Pitt as actors.
Yeah, we could the Gray Man himself. We could have done something wild.
We have yet to do best director of every decade.
That would be super fun.
It would be challenging.
You know what?
but
An episode I want to do at some point
okay.
is either I want to do both of these actually. Favorite movie tropes and most annoying movie tropes.
Could that be a double? Could we do those both in the same episode?
I think so.
Yeah, because I think you could just be like, oh, I really hate it when they turn the news on, and it's the information they need.
It's like the exact moment they turn it on, and it's like talking about them.
Do you have a favorite trope? Just off the top of
Not
your head?
offhand, but I think
Okay.
it'd be really fun to think about.
Yeah, I'd have to
Like
dig in a little bit.
I love like maybe what's an interesting trope in like micro genre. I guess there is a difference.
Yeah, I would say a trope is something that happens in a movie or a narrative story.
I do.
commonly.
This is you want to hear an unpopular opinion?
I'd love to.
I do enjoy it in a movie when people just hang up the phone and don't say goodbye. I think it's something you could just only do in movies,
Yeah.
and it's so cool. They just like don't say goodbye. They just hang up. I love it.
It doesn't bother me. I know some people really bothers them, but
Yeah.
I don't like until it's pointed out to me. I'm like, oh yeah, I guess they just say, all right. Then they say nothing. They hang up.
Yeah.
Totally fine.
I also have you heard about the iPhone bad guy thing in movies?
What's the iPhone bad guy?
It's essentially like the bad guy in a movie will never have an iPhone.
Really?
Because something about like Apple won't allow their phones to be in movies if it's a bad characters having it or something like that.
Really?
And yeah, and so like they'll never be a bad guy will always have an Android or a generic phone.
I'll have to look for that.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's examples of a villain having an iPhone.
I bet there are. It's something I've heard. I've never really tested it out, but I think that's a funny idea. This like you could peg who the killer is based on their phone.
Galen's starting to figure out that all Disney villains look the same.
Oh, do they?
Yeah. Yeah, he was pointing out that he was like, "Oh yeah, Jafar and the voodoo guy from Princess and the Frog look the same to me." I'm like, you're right. They got the same facial structures and everything. So
they kind of look like Hades from Hercules.
And Hades too, right? Yeah, like high cheekbones. So obviously not every single Disney bad guy looks the same, but Disney definitely has some shorthand for what Maleficent's got high cheekbones and a long face.
Did you hear the actress that played Ursula just died?
Yeah. What's her name?
It's more normal than whatever you were about to say.
Oh no, I was thinking of Uhuru from Star Trek, Nichelle Nichols. She also passed away.
Did you say that right?
I said that completely wrong, and thankfully James is not here to point that out.
I'm not a huge Star Trek fan, so I'm going to say it wrong too. But I thought it was something like Ahura.
That's also wrong.
Okay, yeah. I again, I'm not claiming to know the right one. But,
okay, no, but Ursula passed away.
Yes,
the actress. Okay,
yes.
What was her name?
It was, I don't know, but it's a very normal sounding name.
Okay,
like Claire Buttons.
I doubt it was Claire Buttons.
Yeah, I don't think it was either.
All right. Nichelle Nichols played Uhura. Uhura.
Not Uhura.
It's not Uhura.
You're thinking of the Marines.
It's one of these things where I've heard it a million times.
Yeah.
Uhura. It's not Uhura.
No.
Uhura. I don't know what it is.
O'Hara. Is it O'Hara?
It's not O'Hara. It's Scarlet.
No, not O'Hara.
Uhura?
So I don't know. Again, not a huge. My Star Trek was Voyager.
Yeah, Voyager. That's a Star Trek show.
You're a Deep Space Nine. Which
I love Deep
not
Space
get.
Nine.
I don't get that.
You don't get what? Have you watched Deep Space Nine?
I try not to. I mean, I probably caught maybe 10 episodes.
See, that's the okay. So what?
That's the thing. I've only watched 10 hours of it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you really need a good 50 before you can. No. What made Deep Space Nine special and unique was it took place at a single location, right?
Yeah.
A stable location, right? So it wasn't a ship traveling the cosmos. There was less of the monster of the week serialization to it that you see with other Star Trek movies or other Star Trek shows. And it started off a little bit more traditional. Like you watch the first couple seasons and it's, even though it takes place on this space station, it still has a bit of this monster of the week feel to it. But then around season 3, they started developing these long-term stories about, aliens in the Delta Quadrant and the wormhole, and there being how does the station play a role in protecting the Alpha Quadrant? And it became much more of I would say it became much more of like TV that we watch now, where a season tells an overarching story. That's what you saw early DS9 doing. So that's one reason I like it. It's kind of the beginning of these stories. Also, the guy, I believe Ronald D. Moore, who wanted to create like Battlestar Galactica, also worked on Deep Space Nine. So he got to get his feet wet in that show.
That's another show I need to buckle down with.
Battlestar Galactica is easier to get into. Like Deep Space Nine, I get it. First couple seasons is kind of regular Star Trek.
Yeah.
But Battlestar Galactica, it starts with a bang, and I think you can easily get into that.
But you got to start back in the original like 50s or whatever, right?
Well, 70s.
You can't just,
no, you don't. No, I have never watched an episode of Battlestar Galactica from the 70s. I've only seen the reboot in the 2000s.
Yeah, that's not acceptable. You just got, I got to buckle down, start in the 70s, work my way through.
Well, good luck to you on that one. That sounds like a chore.
Thanks. But this isn't what we're here to talk about, is it, Kyle?
Uhura. That's it. It's Uhura. I swear.
Yeah.
No, we are not here to talk about Nichelle Nichols or Claire Buttons, the voice of Ursula.
You didn't look her up?
No, I didn't look her up. I was looking up how to say Uhura.
Okay. Voice of Ursula. No, we're going to talk about Nope.
Yep.
Pat Carroll.
I mean, Pat Carroll and Claire Buttons are kind of the same name.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm going with that.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the new Jordan Peele movie, Nope.
Yeah.
In theaters. You saw it in the theater.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I had a really lively theater. Like when you see like a scary movie, this is my theater crowd is who you want.
I'm happy for you because my theater was not into this movie.
Oh, they weren't?
Oh, there were people getting up like 20 minutes into the movie. There was another guy got up during the finale, during the third act, which we'll discuss. A guy got up to get popcorn. I was like, you are not into this movie if you are just getting up right now.
Popcorn.
Yeah. My theater was not into this movie. So I'm glad to hear that yours was.
There's a scene in the middle of the film where he says nope.
Yeah.
and my crowd was like, they were noping right along with him. They were just like, oh.
Is that in the truck?
No. Earlier than that. That was in the stable.
The stable Nope.
Yeah.
There's some good nopes in that movie.
There's some good nopes, right?
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Why don't do you want to summarize it, do the clip, all that kind of business?
Yeah. Do you want to do a housekeeping first?
Yeah.
Without James here, this podcast really falls apart.
Nope.
All right, housekeeping. I'm see if I can do this. We have a video version on YouTube. Go to YouTube, search for Cinereelists. We have an email, heyguys@cinereelists.com. Send us emails. We are an Apple Podcast, reviews, 5 stars only. And we're here to talk about Nope. Anything else I'm missing?
We're going to do a spoiler-free section.
Yep.
Before we go into spoilers. So if you haven't seen Nope yet and you want to remain unspoiled, then just listen for a little bit. It'll be clear when we go into spoilers.
Yes. It'll be very obvious.
And then we're going to do our top 10 animal performances in films or films with animal performances.
Yeah, I'd say films with animal performances.
That's your list. My list is animal performers.
Okay. Is yours movies or specific animal performers?
It's both. I mean, it's the movie that an animal. It's the animal performer and the movie they're in.
Okay.
But mine is ranked by how much I like the animal performer.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
And yours is movie with animal performances that you like.
Yeah, but it's to choose the movie. The animal performer or performers had to be kind of the main characters.
Okay.
I'm not choosing like the tiger fight from Gladiator.
Okay.
Which is a good animal performance, but I
got to change my list. That's my 1 through 4.
Are there 4 tigers or 4 different tigers were used?
No, that was the first that I had that one scene in all 4 slots.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How does that work? I don't think you know how to make lists.
Just kidding.
All right. I don't know if we have a clip. So if there's a clip, it'll be right here.
What did you see?
It was big.
How big?
Big.
What'd it look like?
I don't know. It was fast. Too fast. Too quiet to be a plane.
OJ, are you saying what I think you're saying?
All right, that was either a great clip or a couple seconds of dead silence.
Okay, here's the guess. Do you think James put in a clip?
I am thinking he did.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I'm thinking he did.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
What do you think?
It's hard to say because we'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, now I'm trying in James' psychology. Would he put in the clip to trick us, or would he not do it just to, because I'm not gonna put in the clip for
A
them.
lot of times he doesn't listen to the episode before he posts it because he wants to listen to it fresh.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess we will find out if there's a clip here or not. Anyway, nope. This is a 2022 Jordan Peele movie starring Daniel Kaluuya, Keke Palmer, Keith David, amongst others. This is off the top of my head, by the way. I've got no notes in front of me. Yeah.
Why not?
Because I didn't know I was doing the intro to the movie. This is I guess you could call this mostly a horror movie.
Yeah, a mystery horror sci-fi.
Mystery horror sci-fi, yep. It is about Daniel Kaluuya and Keke Palmer are ranchers in California, horse ranchers. They own a business where they rent their horses to Hollywood productions, commercials, TV shows, etc. They're at the beginning of the movie, their father mysteriously dies in a rather traumatic way. And they are determined to figure out what exactly is going on and around the ranch that caused the death of their father.
Yeah.
Is that fair enough without getting too spoilery into this?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Strange things start happening at the ranch and they investigate.
I would say the only other big performer of name to point out is Steven Yeun is also in this movie. And he owns a
neighboring
dude ranch amusement park next to their ranch. Yep.
Yes.
And he's buying up a lot of their horses too.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. All right. What do you think of Nope? Non-spoilery general thoughts.
Well, so Jordan Peele has kind of established himself as like this great new voice in horror movies, right? He makes these movies that have like this really clever subtext to it that says something about our cultural moment, and a very talented director, surprisingly. We just know him as this like comedian and then all of a sudden he starts coming out with these like awesome horror films. I would say I watched this movie. I liked it. I enjoyed myself. I think it's very well shot, very well acted, and very well paced. I didn't find anything in this movie that bothered me or like kept or pulled me out of it. You know what I mean? I was along for the ride. I think this movie is a little bit less tight thematically than his other films. The more I try to tease out, like, is there a message or is there more going on here, the less sense maybe some of the elements make. And so I think it's a bit messier as far as like what's he trying to say, or that kind of thing. But just as like a fun kind of thrill ride going along with these characters and what they experience, I enjoyed myself. And so I thought it was effective in that way. I don't think it lives up to 100% of the promise of his first film or maybe even his second film. But it's just because you're comparing him to himself. I think that as a movie itself, it's super enjoyable and I had a good time with it.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of different to say than what you have to say. I think we're on the same page. I was a little hard on this movie after I first saw it. I think because I was comparing it to what he has already done. It's maybe I'm not trying to compare him to M. Night Shyamalan, but I think it's the same idea. Like people compare Shyamalan to himself all the time. So if he doesn't make another The Sixth Sense, they're like, well, this movie's bad. And I think Jordan Peele is not as successful with this movie as he was with Us, and definitely as with Get Out. one of the major reasons, as you point out, was the themes are a little bit less developed, or there's just more, I would say, thematic elements going on without always them being tied together. Or some of them were a little in your face, like the whole TMZ guy.
Yeah.
You knew, like, okay, I get what he's saying here. Like, it's not subtext, it's just text.
Yeah, it was pretty on the nose at that
Right,
point.
yeah.
It's like random TMZ guy who's like begging to like take a picture. Like it's like so silly.
Right, yeah. And you're like, okay, I understand what we're saying here. We're talking about, Instagram culture or whatnot, but it's not clever. It's just being said right now. And
Interesting. I don't think it was talking about Instagram culture.
Well, what did you think? Is this a spoiler part we should save that for?
I'll just briefly say
Okay.
something that I don't think is spoiler.
Okay.
I think that particular thing was reiterating like trying to co-opt Black people and their contribution to cinema and make it a white person thing.
Oh, which is one of the major themes of the movie.
Yeah.
Okay, so you thought that was connected more to that major theme.
Yeah.
I thought this is more about like capture the moments, like everything must be a picture.
Sure.
Okay. Interesting.
Could also be that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's a great thing about Jordan Peele movies is they're up for debate. You can kind of talk about what are these movies about.
I kind of hope we do talk. I hope you educate me about what a couple of things in the movie meant, because I'm not sure I
Okay.
know or if there's an answer. So I'd love your thoughts.
Great. Yeah, because I was thinking about this. I was thinking about the various themes. I do have some ideas, so we'll definitely
Okay.
dive into it.
Fantastic.
I don't think this movie was as well paced as his other movies. This one is over 2 hours long.
Did it feel
and-
slow to you?
Yeah, honestly, the third act felt kind of slow to me. It was a little slow to get going. Like you have this opening scene with Keith David and kind of kicks the events off, and then it's kind of slow to get going. Second act was really cool. I was really digging the second act. I want to say the second act is maybe the most horror of the whole movie. With and then the third act just went really long, I thought. And like visually the third act was super cool. Like as a director, as a he's working with a cinematographer, as a visual artist, I was really enjoying the third act and what I was looking at. But pacing story wise, I thought third act was kind of dragging on for a while.
Okay. I got you.
Yeah. And then Steven Yeun, I thought his character was the most fascinating of the whole movie. He has this backstory which gets alluded to throughout the movie, and you learn some parts about it. And I just wish we had more of him. I understand why we didn't for how this movie worked, but he was the character I was probably most interested in and wanted to learn more about, and I didn't get enough of that.
I absolutely wish we had more of him, because I felt like 4 more minutes with his character would have opened him up a ton more.
Yep.
Yeah. I just wanted a little bit more.
Yep.
But other than that, yeah.
Yeah. So sounds like you and I are kind of on the same page on this movie.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
I'm glad I had some time to think about it. I think I would have come in a little harsher if we had recorded this, 24 hours after I'd seen it.
Mm-hmm. Daniel Kaluuya's performance is so understated.
Mm-hmm.
In a way that, like, I don't know. My bias is to underappreciate a performance like that, because he really just seems like he's, moping for a lot of it. Like he's so low key with, but Keke Palmer was awesome.
So I agree. Keke Palmer is awesome. Like I don't know if I've seen her before, or if I have, I didn't pick her out specifically.
You've seen her before.
Okay. What else has she been in?
Well, first of all, she's the person that the meme is when they show her a picture of the vice president, and she's like, I don't know who that man is. I could see him on the street and I wouldn't recognize him. Do you know that meme?
I do not know that meme, no.
It's a great meme.
Okay. I'll look that up.
But she's a really fun person to watch in interviews. She just has a lot of great energy.
Mm-hmm.
But let's see. What was she in? I don't know, man. I have no idea what she was in.
Okay. So I haven't seen her before.
She was a voice in Lightyear.
Oh, was she was she the Lightyear's friend, the one who got married and, like kept growing up because he was always gone for 4 years at a time?
I
Like the girl
I-
who then grew up into the woman?
my guess is she was that girl's granddaughter.
Oh, maybe.
You know, the young person that he was like.
Oh, that joined the
working
team.
with. Yeah.
Yeah,
that'd be my guess.
that makes sense. Okay. That makes sense.
Not,
So
not the grandma.
I guess I saw Keke Palmer and Daniel Kaluuya's characters at two different ends of like the spectrum, where she is the electric, she's the hustler. She talked about her job's the side hustle and her hustles are the main thing. Where he's more of the like, I got work to do, get the work done. He's the quiet guy. He seems like the animal guy of the family. He's like, I like horses.
Totally.
Like, I want to be around horses. I don't want to be around people. I don't want to talk to people. That's her
Absolutely.
job. So,
Absolutely.
but you're right. It can be hard to judge an understated performance sometimes because you're not getting those highs and lows. You're getting a much steadier performance. So I thought he did a great job of being steady. As you mentioned before, he had some great nopes throughout the movie.
Oh yeah, it's when he starts being more reactive that I've found him more fun to watch.
Okay,
you know?
I want to say my favorite nope was in the car where he like looks out the window, just goes nope, and locks the door.
Oh yeah,
like
there's some good
locking
notes.
the door to do anything in that instance. Anyway,
Loved it.
Yeah,
And this movie was funny too. I laughed several times, as is my audience. And my belief is this movie may be a contender for the earliest that the name of the film is said in the film.
when does he say it with that first
No.
scene with his father? No, okay.
No, we hear it in voiceover within the first 10 seconds of this movie. We hear like a TV sitcom kind of playing in the background.
Yes, that's right.
And someone says nope.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't think of another movie that says the title of the film that early in the film.
I mean, everyone
So.
knows in Contact, the first thing you hear Jodie Foster say is, "We made contact."
It's playing just radio programs
Yeah.
where they just keep saying contact.
Yeah, exactly, over and over again. No, they're none of the zooming out from Earth thing with the radio broadcast playing. It's just Jodie Foster, "We made contact," and then it starts.
Yeah. I'd like I if I was a famous director and all my friends were famous directors, I would totally say like, guys, let's make a bingo card of like little Easter egg things that we're trying to accomplish in our movies.
Yeah.
And then first one to win wins. And one is like have the earliest name of your movie said in the movie.
Yep.
I think that'd be so fun.
Luke Skywalker.
All right.
First thing he says, "This is a real Star War going on here."
What was Luke Skywalker's original name supposed to be?
Luke Star Killer.
Okay.
I want to
Yeah,
say
something like that.
Star Killer.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah. I'm sure there is a bigger, I got the posters, I know, but I'm sure there's a bigger Star Wars nerd out there who can confirm that. I'm going to say Star Killer.
Should we talk spoiler or letterbox and spoilers?
Yeah, let's Letterbox.
4 stars for me.
All right. 3.5 for me.
Okay. Nice.
Perfect.
All right. Let's do spoilers.
All right.
For
So-
Nope.
Spoiler section starting now.
There's kind of 3 sections to this movie.
Yep.
The first section is his dad dies mysteriously and they're struggling as a business. The second section is like, oh, I saw a UFO and I'm going to try to capture it on video.
Doesn't he see the UFO when his dad dies?
I don't think that he does. No.
Oh, so you see something in the sky pretty early in this movie.
I thought the first time he saw the sky was at night when the horse ran away.
No, there was one time, there was a daytime where I want to say it's maybe when his father died. He looked up and like briefly something was in the sky.
Oh, interesting.
So okay, let's keep going because I want to talk about the trailer of this movie because the
We can do
trailer
that.
influenced my rating, I think.
Well, the trailer is a lot of stuff from the second stage of this movie that I talked about where he sees a UFO
Yep.
and he wants to capture it on film.
Yes. And
And then the third section is where, oh, it's not a UFO. It is an alien in the shape of a UFO. And that is what is terrorizing everyone.
correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard that Nope also stands for not of planet Earth. I don't know if this is true or not.
No, I saw that in an interview and they
Okay.
just said that wasn't it.
That's not true. Okay, that's
Yeah.
totally fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the trailer gives you a lot of that second act of there's an alien, we're gonna figure it out. You know, we're trying to take a picture of it. You kind of get the idea too. The other thing with this alien is they learn you can't, when you look at it. Look, do you want to back up a little bit? I feel like
Sure.
we're
Yeah.
jumping all over the place here. So
Yeah.
okay. All right. So yeah. So father dies. It is it's like a nickel that enters goes through his
Yeah.
eye into his brain.
Yeah.
And there's all this other debris that they're finding on the ground.
Yeah. I will say one thing I liked about this movie is a lot of things are set up and paid off well.
Like give me an example.
So for instance, the nickel falling from the sky that kills his dad.
Yeah.
That's not just a frogs falling from the sky Magnolia thing where it's like sometimes weird things happen.
Mhm.
It's like no, when this creature eats things, it spits out all the stuff it can't digest.
Yeah.
And so like it routinely is like spitting metal objects from the sky. That's a motivated thing that we learn about later.
Right. It's just it's like a starfish.
Yeah.
Comes in and
Or-
goes out.
Yeah, or like when she's at the amusement park and kids are at the well and she like messes up their picture in the well.
Mhm.
Like that comes up again that she like we know that camera exists. It doesn't just appear out of nowhere in the
Mhm.
film.
Yeah.
You know. So when they are on the set where they lose their job basically with the horse because
Yeah.
it kicks. That means that later she has a cinematographer that she can contact that knows who she is. You know what I mean? So like things are set up and like paid off really well in this film for the most part, which made the ones that aren't paid off whatsoever, like the shoe, stand out.
The shoe.
Yeah.
Are you
So
talking about the shoe that's standing vertical during the
Yeah.
monkey? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So I found the monkey attack to be the most fascinating part of this movie and the most horrifying
totally.
part.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's super horrifying. That's how the movie starts too.
Yes, right. And you kind of right. So Stephen Young's character used to be on this 90s sitcom with like Gordy or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was like a 90s sitcom with a monkey in the family.
Yeah.
And then one day there's an on-set accident where the monkey, the chimpanzee, we should say, starts attacking cast members brutally.
Yeah, it gets spooked and then just goes full wild.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, like, how much, I know the answer to this. How much do you think a chimpanzee weighs? Like, just by looking at one of those.
Looking at chimpanzee, I would say it weighs 180.
Yeah. So about 200 pounds
Okay.
is what they weigh, which is, if you think about it, like, you think about chimpanzees aren't very tall, right? So that's a lot of mass in a compact body of 200 pounds. So chimpanzees are incredibly strong.
Yeah.
Compared to a human.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. They're terrifying if they want to be.
I don't think I ever want to meet a chimpanzee. Like if someone has,
Oh, really?
Yeah, like if they're like, oh, this is an old, like here's Bubbles or whatever. Like this isn't like I don't want to meet a chimpanzee because I know that thing could destroy me.
Yeah.
If it wanted to. If it looked at me and says I don't like how you look, or there's something happens. Yeah.
Now, quick question.
Okay.
Quick question. You meet a chimp.
Okay.
Now they have no formal martial arts training whatsoever. Correct me if I'm wrong. You're a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Correct. Yes.
Right. You don't think you could get him in a submit hold?
Well, there's two things going on here. Number one, it'd be strength. Like jiu-jitsu is great and all, but there are factors of strength going on.
But you can't mitigate that with like black belt technique.
I mean, in some cases I can. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I just because I'm a black belt, I'm not some unstoppable machine. Like I have human limitations.
Believe me, I never considered that. As an
Okay,
option.
great. So, right, if I was to be attacked by a chimpanzee, would my jujitsu experience put me at an advantage compared to a non-trained person?
Yeah.
Yes. Would it be enough advantage to overcome like sharp biting teeth that want to take my face off? I don't know.
Okay, so you're not confident. He's wearing a gi, by the way.
Oh, okay. Oh, so he's dressed up just for me.
Yeah.
Oh, great. He's got a gi on. I can control those limbs, no problem.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I
yeah.
only enter dangerous situations people have geese on. If not, I'm not going in there. So.
So the movie opens from that boy's perspective, right? Watching this attack, kind of the aftermath of it. And it's a truly just kind of horrible image, right? Because you can absolutely picture just how awful and how tragic that whole event is, right?
Yeah,
how senseless and brutal.
This chimpanzee's covered in blood, including its mouth. So you know it's using its teeth.
Yeah.
And there's like a girl, thankfully, tastefully, you only see her feet. She's behind a couch. There's a girl lying on the ground, kind of moaning and gurgling, which is terrifying also.
Right. It's one of those things that for me will always be one of the most terrifying things is the senseless acts, like the things that like were misunderstandings between human and nature, you know, like, or like if you think about like Of Mice and Men, when Lenny like accidentally kills the girl, or when Frankenstein accidentally kills the girl, you know, it's just like, oh, it's so senseless. Like it just didn't have to be. That is just so horrifying.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I guess that was an impetus for that character to then start this dude ranch and like become obsessed with that show for the rest of his life.
Well, so no, that was him, right? He was on the show. Yeah. Okay, good. Okay. And he was also on like Kid Sheriff or something like that. That was another show he was on. So yeah, I think it started like he always wanted to be a performer. He was obviously a child performer, and then, you know, they don't go huge into his backstory, but he turned that child performance into now being an owner of a kind of chintzy amusement park, kind of a tourist trap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We started talking about this because during the attack of this ape attack, there's a shoe that for no reason is just standing completely vertically balanced.
Yeah.
And we had seen the shoe before because it's in his little like secret museum of the event. Were you able to tease out any type of meaning from that, or was it just a bad miracle kind of thing?
Yeah, I think if anything, it was a bad miracle. 'Cause that's something that's brought up a couple times. Like, what if there's a bad miracle? And that's kind of what they're talking about with this UFO/alien. It's like, oh, it's a miracle, but maybe not a good kind.
Yeah. Okay. I wish there was something I could tease out of that because it's such an interesting idea and image, right? To see that shoe just miraculously up like that, and then just nothing is given to us about it. Which is too bad. I don't need it spelled out, but I just like, I want to connect it to something, and I couldn't.
No. No, I couldn't figure out, because I looked at it a couple of times too. Like, okay, what's like he's focusing on this shoe? Why? Yeah, nothing there.
Yeah, and so there's this alien craft, and he actually puts on a show once a week where like he entices it with a horse, and it comes and like eats the horse in front of people as like their UFO show.
Yeah.
Like, I have a couple questions about this.
My first question was, he says 6 months ago I saw this. Has he been doing this for 6 months?
Okay, so this is where I'm not sure, because one, he's practicing his speech with his wife.
Okay.
And if he does this all the time, why is he practicing his speech? It kind of seems like it's the first time he's given the speech because he's practicing it right before. Do you remember that? Like, he's going through flashbacks. His wife's like, let's do it one more time. As if he's nervous about it and he's doing it for the first time. But from the actual speech and everything, you get the sense that he's done this multiple times before.
Do you think this was his first time doing it for the public? And maybe he has like just on his own released a horse. Like, maybe he's practiced with the alien thinking he's practicing, or like he's trying to learn its behavior.
Yeah, that's certainly possible. The other thing is, did they say that he bought the previous horses for $11,500 each? Because when he goes, when Daniel Kaluuya goes to sell him a horse, he's like, same price as last time, right? $11,500. And I was like, if he's sacrificing these horses to the aliens, there's how many people in the crowd? Like 30?
Yeah.
There's no way this is a profitable business.
That's a good point. I did not pick up on that, I guess. But
okay. I didn't get that at all.
Interesting. Yeah.
It is interesting how they had the co-star from the original TV show in the audience, and he kind of like says, points her out kind of thing. That's used in the trailer And in the trailer, like all the context is stripped away, and so you assume that's some sort of thing connected to the alien.
Like Alien or something. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very clever how the trailer uses that to a different effect than the movie does.
Right, because we learned that the girl who was attacked by the chimpanzee does survive,
Right.
but is maimed.
And that's actually based on a real story.
I read about that. It happened in 2009.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I read even reading the Wikipedia entry was horrifying. I would
I watched the interview with Oprah.
Oh, that's right. She was on Oprah. Well, with the woman.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
She wears the same veil hat.
Yeah.
And then in the second half of the interview, she takes the hat off.
Okay. I don't know if I want to watch that interview.
Why?
Because it's.
What do you have against people with disabilities?
Nothing. No, it's because it's trauma that I do not need to expose myself to. Like just reading about it was enough trauma right there.
Okay.
Yeah. Like. Yeah. I'm glad she was able to go and talk about it and be comfortable showing herself on TV because we're very focused on looks kind of society.
Yeah.
So there's nothing against her personally. I just don't need to. I don't need to expose myself to that.
Sure. So again, in a movie that I think does a really good job of setups and payoffs, the other thing that I thought it was clunky about was this "you can't look it in the eye" thing. Like at some point, Daniel Kaluuya gets in his head that, they're like horses. If you look them in the eye, they'll spook and eat you.
Mm-hmm.
And he like bets his life on that pretty much immediately. And it turns out to be the right call, right? I think if you don't look at it, it just kind of ignores you.
Yeah.
And as soon as you look at it, it's coming for you. But that seemed a stretch. It seemed unmotivated. I'm not necessarily buying that.
So that kind of, I understand what you're saying by how that leap seems a bit of a leap of like, just don't look at it. And now we'll figure it out. Right. But I do think that does tie into one of the greater themes of this movie. And that is, predator and especially man's relationship with predators and the man's attempt to tame nature. And like, obviously we see that with the alien. Like, Steven Yeun thinks he can tame this predator. He thinks he's in control, and he obviously isn't. And he and all his all the spectators get eaten by this creature. Which, by the way, was that not a great scene? Like when they're inside the mouth, the esophagus of the alien, like being digested. Like it both looked super cheap and super scary at the same time.
Yeah, both at the same time. When that scene happened, I realized there's going to be more in this movie than the trailer.
Right. It's not just a UFO.
Yeah. When I saw the trailer, I was like, well, they're kind of showing the whole movie, but it looks like a cool movie. When I saw that, I was like, okay, no, there's going to be more things happening.
Right. Yeah. And I loved how, as the alien flew around, like the screams of people inside of it were echoing through the canyon. I thought that was a really cool effect too. So
yeah, it was pretty awful.
But anyway, this movie has a theme of man's relationship with nature and how we think we can tame nature and we can't. And we see that with the alien. We see that with the chimpanzee attack. And I think that's kind of what Daniel Kaluuya's character is also alluding to with the "don't look it in the eye." Like,
well, so but that's his way of taming it. But that gives the opposite message though. With that knowledge, he is able to neuter the animal. Like he is in a way able to like control it.
Yeah, I see what you're saying there. I guess what I was seeing it as is by not looking at the alien, by not looking at it, you're not trying to show a dominance, right? You're trying to be like, you're in control here. Right. Now it turns out if you don't look at it, it doesn't eat you for whatever reason that is. But it's the idea of like, it's okay to look away. And if you look away, you'll be okay, which is
I think the looking is more the theme that I was picking up on. Like one guy says, oh yeah, I call them the viewers, the watchers or whatever he calls them. And what Kiki and Daniel are trying to do, I guess his name's OJ in the movie.
Sorry, OJ, yeah.
What they're trying to do is capture them on camera, right?
Yeah.
Because if they can show the world that they exist, then it can like prove something, help them out financially, all those kind of things. So a lot about this movie is about seeing is believing kind of thing, or like who's looking at who can see who's aware of who. Like even their family history has been erased, right? People, don't see their great grandfather's importance in cinema, that kind of thing. So even the nickel goes through, I think, his granddad's eye.
Yes.
Or his father's eye. So there's a lot going on of like looking versus not looking, being able to turn away. But it's where like the themes, I think, get a little muddied because we're rooting for them to capture on film this alien, right? We're rooting for them to basically exploit this animal. Whereas like other things that happen are like, don't exploit animals.
Yeah. It's hard to. I didn't know if I should be sympathetic for the alien or not, because it is eating people, but at the same time, it's just doing what it does. Like it's an animal.
I would say another thing. As soon as I realize it's not a UFO, it's a animal, biological thing.
Yeah.
I no longer consider it an alien. It seems a stretch to think it came from another planet when like we have tons of animals on Earth. It's probably just a prehistoric animal.
I guess I always thought of it as being an alien.
But why?
Because it's something I'd ever seen before. That's why.
Yeah.
And it was so different. I mean, it does start off looking kind of like a UFO in shape.
Totally.
Right? It has like a mouth or something. And then towards the end, it like unfolds into this rather beautiful jellyfish-looking creature.
I thought that was so cool and creative, like for no reason really. And it's kind of like developing. It unfolds into this very ripply kind of like sail creature.
So that was one of my favorite and most frustrating moments was when they're running from the alien. And she's on the bike, and he's on the horse, and the alien's in between them, and it's kind of doing. At this point, it's unfurled. It has this square mouth, which is kind of undulating, and it's going back and forth between them. Like it's looking at Daniel Kaluuya, it's looking at Keke Palmer. It's for them, it's a moment of like they're gonna be parted for the rest of the movie because the alien's in between them, and it was both visually cool because this is the first time you see this alien unfurled with its mouth, like a kind of its flowing undulations. But it felt like 5 minutes of them just staring at the alien with it looking back and forth between the two. And I was like,
good time to run.
Someone do something here. Like they were both,
it's good time to run.
Right. So like that was one of those moments where I felt like the Jordan Peele was getting a little indulgent. He's like, here's this cool alien. I really want to show it. And then like for a couple of minutes, the story just stopped.
I don't think it was self-indulgence.
Okay.
One, because I think you are very quick to ascribe to self-indulgence what could equally be ascribed to something else.
I do like to look for
things to do.
I know. I do like. Well, I don't know. I feel like when you're a director of his caliber who's been given a lot of money for this movie, right? Like a much bigger budget than Us or Get Out, right? And I think a little bit more creative license. I think there's a danger where you start losing some of your, like maybe the choices you had to make when you had less money, less time, less resources made a better movie. Now you have more time, more resources, and probably more people agreeing with you. There's a danger of going into self-indulgence.
I totally agree with that. I absolutely agree with that. My personal belief is this was not self-indulgence, like, look what a cool alien design I came up with, and I want it more time on screen. I think he tried and failed to make an emotional moment where the brother is sacrificing himself for the sister. So he wanted that to be a Steven Spielberg moment where you're like feeling the weight of he's giving up his life to save her. And he just didn't accomplish that very well.
I never felt like he was in more danger than she was.
Well, what I think was happening is at that point, he was saying, I'm going to distract the alien so you can get away. So basically, he's got to go after one of us. I'm going to make sure he goes after me so that you can get away.
Yeah.
That's what I got from that. And that's why he did the look thing.
Yep.
that he did when they were kids, kind of a thing. So it was like him sacrificing himself.
So maybe that moment just didn't land.
Exactly. That's my take on it.
And then because it didn't land, I'm like, well, that's self-indulgent right there.
Yeah, exactly. No, it was just whoops.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. Because at the end, he sees at the very end, after, by the way, this poor alien dies. I felt kind of bad. Or this creature.
Why did you feel bad?
Again, because I saw it as an animal.
Okay.
Not necessarily as, I don't know how intelligent it was.
Okay.
Or was it just doing? Right? And
we don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know.
I don't know. I just felt kind of like, because it was, as much as it was this dangerous creature, it was kind of this beautiful creature too.
It was.
And it gets popped. It just seemed like a kind of a terrible way to go.
Well, I got you. But
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Would you have shot the chimpanzee?
Yeah, I would shot the chimpanzee.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that only killed one person. What if it had killed hundreds of people?
But the chimpanzee was placed. I know. I'm not saying that the alien was, oh, we should just let it eat the entire world. I can still feel bad. I mean, did you feel bad when that chimpanzee got shot?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same feeling. Like, obviously that chimpanzee was, at that point, it was placed in the situation probably shouldn't have been in the first place. Right? It was exploited. And then it went on and reacted how wild animals react. And unfortunately, we have to then put down wild animals that do that. You still feel bad for the chimpanzee. I still feel bad for the alien or the creature, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, that makes sense. The alien, it seemed a little bit more malicious. Like the fact that it purposely was raining the blood on the house, that seemed more calculated.
That's a good point. Like I know what you're doing here. That's a good point. Yeah. Anyway, so at the end, she sees her brother on the horse. The dust settles. He's kind of in the same pose as the jockey at the very beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
And, she does say a thing like, oh, you're alive. And I never questioned that he was dead. Never crossed my mind that he had died. And
gotcha. Again, that's why I think it failed to pull that off.
Yeah.
The self-sacrifice part of it.
Yep.
Although I think there's just as equal a read that you could have of the film that he did not survive. And this is like her just in her mind.
Like a vision she had.
Yeah. Because it never fully unblurs, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so I don't know.
Okay.
I do like the analog versus digital kind of themes in this film.
Mm-hmm.
Like you had the cinematographer guy. Who was that? He was awesome.
He has a great voice. I don't know what
Michael Wincott.
Yeah, that name's familiar. I'm sure he's been in other things we've seen.
He was great. I loved the idea of like capturing on film because it stops all the electricity in the area.
Mm-hmm.
Although again, sometimes it gets a little on the nose where he's like, it's magic hour. I'm going to go out there and shoot him.
Right. Like, oh, we have to wait a little bit longer. But even there, that's like he can't look away. He has to get the shot.
Yeah.
And he loses his life for it. I found it a little silly that his homemade hand crank camera was an IMAX camera. Like, those are heavy enough as they are.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why. You're like, I'm make a homemade camera. Let's make an IMAX while we're at it.
I was waiting for a praying mantis to climb in front of his lens.
Oh, yeah.
I think this alien can communicate with bugs. That's my theory.
How did you feel about the aliens in the stable scene?
So that's where my crowd got the best reaction.
Okay.
Because I thought it was shot so perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
Because you honestly don't know what's going on. And then as it's happening, it's just very much like, I think this is aliens in the stable.
You're like, this is a Little Green Men movie, and wow, he's choosing the Little Green Men look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So I actually really like that a lot.
I gotta say, those kids, though, they know how to move very creepily, though. Like, those are some great child actors Steven Yeun's got working for him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, just how that one, like, stands up and is peeing around corners.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there's a lot going on in this movie. I mean, it's full of interesting things.
Yeah.
But I think it never really reaches anything more artistically interesting than just a really good kind of thriller, because these threads do not give me any epiphanies about animal exploitation or taming nature or watching and viewing. Like I don't know if it has expanded my consciousness about these ideas. Has it for you?
No, it hasn't made me question things like Us and Get Out have.
Right.
Us and Get Out have a lot more racial subtext to them. And I think maybe that's one reason why like it can go for these bigger ideas, because obviously racial politics in our country are a big deal. Whereas, you know, this one's more, again, I picked up more on the Instagram culture. I picked up on, you know, the don't look away, have to capture everything on film, which I guess for me is not a topic I think about as much. Of like, you know, oh, what are these devices doing to us?
Yeah. And I mean, ultimately, the victory of in this film is that she finally gets a photo of the alien.
Which, that well camera is amazing.
It's a pretty nice well
Yeah.
camera. I mean, that is quality.
And
But also,
is that well camera? Is that picture going to get them anywhere? That's like one
Absolutely
photo,
not.
right? Like I didn't feel like she got the picture, good for her, but that's not a life altering thing whatsoever.
not in our world where you could easily create an image like that.
Yeah. Well, this
Case
movie,
in point, like they created the image like that because that alien was all digital.
right? Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know.
Is a Pyrrhic victory.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good way to put it. Yeah. So anyway, that's all I have to say about Nope.
Yeah, that's all I got for now. If I think of anything else, maybe I'll chime in later in the podcast. But
Okay.
That's all I got.
Sounds good. That was Nope. Let's talk about our top 10 lists for this week. We did slightly different lists, but they're going to feel similar to each other. My list is my top 10 favorite animal performances in movies.
And my list is my top 10 movies with main animal performance roles, I guess you want to call it. So,
yeah. So slightly different flavor to similar idea.
Yep. I bet you there'll be some overlap between our lists.
Possibly not.
Oh, actually, yeah. So my movies are mostly from the late 80s and 90s. Like these are movies I was watching as a kid because I was watching a lot more animal movies as a child.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see. We will see.
Okay.
Would you like to start?
I'll start first.
Okay.
Yeah. That way you can close out the list. I'll give you that honor.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, my number 10 is a 1989 buddy cop comedy about a man and a dog, and this is obviously
Turner and Hooch.
No, K9 starring Jim Belushi. Come on. No, seriously, this is K9 starring Jim Belushi.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
You're right. Turner and Hooch would be the obvious choice. They're both 1989. They're both about cops that get paired with mischief dogs. But for whatever reason, when I was watching TV back in 1989, the 90s, K9 was the one I was gravitating towards, not Turner and Hooch. So I went with this one. So yeah, this is Jim Belushi plays a cop, and he gets paired with a German Shepherd as his partner. And this German Shepherd is a terrible police dog. It's mischievous. It gets up into antics and mostly causes more headaches for Jim Belushi than is worth. But I remember it being a very funny movie. The scene that stands out to me is when Jim Belushi goes into like a bar to question some subjects or some suspects, and he ties the dog to like his the rearview mirror of his convertible, and then the dog walks into the bar dragging the rearview mirror behind him. And I thought that was the funniest thing. So don't know if this movie holds up, but back when I was watching it, I dug it. And the dog is very fun in this movie.
Very cool. My number 10 is Project X from 1987. This is a Matthew Broderick film, also Helen Hunt's in it.
Okay.
And he plays an Air Force pilot that gets assigned to this top secret experiment that involves chimpanzees. and he starts to become very attached to the chimpanzees, one in particular, and then he facilitates an escape for the chimp. And it's just this Matthew Broderick and a chimp drama. And I really enjoyed it, actually. I thought it was a lot of fun. And Willie plays the chimp named Virgil. And I am all for Matthew Broderick trying to, boost a chimp. So yeah.
I'm really glad you got the animal names, the actors who play them. I'm gonna try and find them as I go here.
Okay, I think it's important.
I won't always get it, but yeah, I'll try. Let's name these actors. All right, my number 9 is a 1992 movie called Beethoven, and this is about a family that adopts.
Oh man, I haven't thought about Beethoven in a long
time.
Is this the movie that's never been mentioned on the show?
No. It gets more obscure than this.
Okay.
This is about a family that adopts a puppy, and this puppy turns into a large Saint Bernard that they name Beethoven. And Beethoven gets into all kinds of antics with eating the turkey dinner and slobbering on Charles Grodin a lot, and is just a very big dog that takes over the house. But there's more to this movie, which I forgot about until I read the rest of the plot synopsis. And this is how it's written. This is not me. I'm just reading this verbatim with punctuation. So here we go. So, you have the Beethoven large dog. It goes on. Dr. Varnick, the local vet who has a secret and horrible sideline, which requires lots of dogs for experiments. Period. Beethoven is on the bad doctor's list. That's not a sentence, but I remember correctly. There is a veterinarian who is trying to kidnap Beethoven for experiments, and the family needs.
What do they call it? His sideline?
Yeah, Dr. Varnick, the local vet has a secret and horrible sideline, which requires lots of dogs for experiments.
I've never heard of a sideline before.
That sentence is poorly written. I wonder if there was a typo in there, and they forgot
like a side hustle.
I think they mean like side hustle or side project or
no. A sideline is an activity done in addition to one's main job.
Is
to make
this
extra income?
Is this used in American English?
Yes.
Really?
In American English.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Similar to a side job or a hobby.
All right. So what are your sidelines, Zach?
I do a podcast about movies.
Another one?
No. This is my hobby. My number 9.
And sorry,
Are you
Chris,
still talking about Beethoven?
Chris plays Beethoven.
Oh, don't tell me that. I want to believe it's named Beethoven.
No, it's Chris.
Sorry. Who names it Saint Bernard Chris?
I don't know.
That's a problem.
We met some people at the dog park, and their dog was named Penny.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, that's what our dog's name used to be. We changed it. And like, oh yeah, we changed our dog's name too. When we got her name was Karen.
Oh, that's funny.
Karen the dog.
Okay, my number 9 is Keanu, starring Jordan Peele and Keegan-Michael Key, and it's the cat from Keanu. You haven't seen Keanu?
I have not seen Keanu. No.
Okay. First of all, I think Keanu is absolutely hilarious, so I would recommend it.
Okay.
Especially if you like their comedy. But just Google the cat in Keanu.
Okay.
Just so you get a mental image of this cat. It's just the cutest thing possible. And it's used to very funny effect by just how absolutely adorable this cat is. It's the MacGuffin of the film. Like they're trying to get back Keanu that's been stolen. It's like a John Wick kind of situation.
Okay.
But this cat is so cute. It's played by 3 different cats, Peanut, Misha, and Charlie.
Is the cat always wearing accessories?
It usually has a hat or something.
Okay,
it's not always wearing accessories.
Okay, yep. It's
just
cat.
Impossibly adorable cat. So.
Is that a kitten?
It is a kitten, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I need to see Keanu. Is Keanu Reeves in Keanu?
I'm not going to tell you.
Oh, so he is, and it's a funny cameo. So
I'm not going to tell you.
Okay, you don't need to tell me. Your answer, your lack of an answer is enough for me.
I'm not going to tell you, but Tiffany Haddish is in it. Who's
do like
the
Tiffany
Keanu
Haddish.
Reeves of what?
You're calling Tiffany Haddish the Keanu Reeves of Continue. What is she the Keanu Reeves of?
Luis Guzman is also in it.
Oh, and Luis Guzman is the Keanu Reeves of Tiffany Haddish's.
Yeah. So that's my number 9.
All right. My number 8 is a movie that has never been mentioned on this podcast. Maybe never been mentioned on a movie podcast. This is a 1990 made-for-TV movie that was on the Disney Channel that I used to watch a ton as a kid. It is called Chips the War Dog.
Chips the War Dog.
This is a World War II movie about a misfit private who is assigned a dog, a German Shepherd named Chips, and they go to battle together. They first have to train together, and then they fight the Nazis side by side. This movie I used to watch all the time when I was a kid. It was on Disney Channel constantly. Every time it was on, I'd watch it. There was great scenes of the German Shepherd training, like jumping over barbed wire fences, going through tunnels. That all looked super cool. I watched the trailer and a couple scenes from it today, and it looks incredibly cheesy and cheap and probably does not hold up whatsoever. I don't know if I want to spend 90 minutes watching it, but when I think of animal movies, I don't think of Rin Tin Tin. I think of Chips the War Dog.
Well, I've never heard of Chips the War Dog, but it did make me think of Not Quite Human, which is a movie I haven't thought about in a very long time.
Okay, yeah. Only 61 people, because I did it today, have watched Chips the War Dog on Letterboxd.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I found a movie
Not
I had seen that had not been marked. Yeah.
How many ratings do you think it has on IMDb?
Oh, it probably has 115.
251.
Oh, okay. All right.
And it is it is roughly the 40,000th most popular film
On IMDb?
on IMDb, yeah.
I really wonder. I want to keep
The
track
top
of
40.
that and see how if it goes up because of the podcast. If you know, maybe it breaks to like the 30,000s.
It's recently dropped 2,400 places, so we'll see if we can give it a little bit of a boost.
What is this IMDb rating? Like 4, 5.2?
6.5.
Oh, 6.5.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh.
Well, really, the only people that remember it are ones that have this nostalgic view of it.
Yeah, well,
So-
I mean, I gave it 2.5 stars. I don't think it's a good movie. I just, 7-year-old me really liked it.
All right, well, my number 8 is Kiki from Free Willy. This is
Keiko?
Is it Keiko?
I believe it's Keiko.
Well, it's spelled Keiki. So I'd be
Really?
surprised if it ends in an O sound.
Okay, you continue.
Okay. Well, you're Googling.
Yeah, I'm Googling. I'm still listening, though. I can do two things at once.
Yeah, well, I'm just talking about Free Willy. Yeah, he goes to save an orca that's kept in captivity. And this movie, it had its moment, right?
Yes, it did.
There was a time when everyone in the world was aware of Free Willy, right? The Michael Jackson song and just the whole, it was a thing. And yeah, so I enjoyed Free Willy. I think I saw Free Willy 2, but I'm not positive.
I have seen all the Free Willy sequels. I think there's 3 or 4 of them. And I had to take my brother and his friends to the most recent one. I remember falling asleep in the theater during Free Willy 3 or 4, whichever one I took him to. And it is definitely Keiko on Letterboxd, Keiko. So where are you seeing
Okay.
Kiki or Keiki?
Just all over, man.
All over.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right. My number 7 is a 1996 movie called Fly Away Home. This is starring.
I love Fly Away Home.
Oh, isn't it great? Yeah, this is starring Jeff Daniels and Anna Paquin. I believe the setup is Anna Paquin's mother is killed, so she goes to live with her father. Her parents are estranged, Jeff Bridges. And Jeff Bridges raises Canadian geese. And she kind of befriends this this group of baby geese and watches them grow up, and eventually has to teach them how to migrate. So she learns how to fly in ultralight, and then teaches these geese how they can fly south for the summer. And it's it's just a really sweet family movie. Jeff Bridges is great in it. It got a young Anna Paquin. I remember the shots of like her flying the ultralight with the geese was really, really cool. And just kind of this animal bond she has. I'm not able to find the names of the geese actors. I apologize to them and their families. But we'll have to find that for another day.
Okay. Well, we'll just have to. My number 7 is Bart the bear, who plays the bear in The Edge.
Yeah, Bart the bear.
Bart the bear, who's a very prolific actor, by the way. But The Edge is Sir Anthony Hopkins and Alec Baldwin. And it is this great man versus nature kind of film. It's like Alec Baldwin's trying to like get Sir Anthony Hopkins killed, but Sir Anthony Hopkins is just brilliant. And so they're playing this game of chess with each other, like underneath the surface. And then there's also like, you know, some man versus nature where they're like stuck out in the woods and a bear's hunting them. I love it. It's great.
I've never seen The Edge, but I remember always seeing that cover at the video rental store.
Mm-hmm.
I should probably watch it. Is that what you say? Is that late 90s?
97.
97. Okay, yeah, that'd be perfect time to be in the video store.
It's like 100% in Anthony Hopkins' like wheelhouse, like where he is his best, right? In that kind of character, right? Someone who's brilliant and like thinking quietly how to outwit people. And then Alec Baldwin as like this, like nice on the outside, like conniving on the inside. It's great.
I'll see it someday. It seems like one of those nostalgia movies I missed.
I don't think it's a nostalgia movie.
Well, it's nostalgia. I just remember seeing it a lot, so I'm nostalgic for the cover for it.
Yeah,
yeah. I remember walking by. I'm like, oh, I should watch that movie, but just not for whatever.
Very early Charlize Theron. It was good.
She's not in it. I would know that.
Okay.
Is she in it? I'm pretty sure she's not in it.
I'm pretty sure she was alive at the time.
She was alive, yes. I don't think she's in that movie.
Well, only one way to find out. Literally only one way to find out.
To watch it. Yeah. All right. My number 6 is The Black Stallion from 1979. I thought this was a Disney movie, but it is not. So I just must have watched it on TV a bunch of times. But it's another movie I remember watching a bunch. It's about, I think this movie takes place in like maybe the 40s or it's somewhere earlier in the 20th century.
The 40s.
Is the 40s? Okay. Yeah. And there's a boy on a steamliner. I think they're traveling off the coast of Africa, and he notices that there's this wild horse on the steamliner. This black stallion. And the steamliner sinks. It gets, there's an accident. There's a fire. It sinks. He's able to free the horse, and he washes up on land and sees the horse on the beach too. He and the horse befriend each other. They create this bond. They then get rescued, and he goes on to train this horse to be a fast race horse. So it's a movie about this bond between this boy and this wild horse. And I just remember really enjoying this movie as a kid, especially like scenes of him washing up on the beach and the horse running around and how they kind of eventually find this bond together. It's a movie that I want to watch again with Galen and see if it holds up and see if he enjoys it as much as I did. And if I still enjoyed it as much as I did back then.
Nice. I did not put
Cass Olay plays the Black Stallion.
I didn't put any horses on my list because I love horse movies, and so I didn't want this to become a horse movie list.
I want to say that's my only horse movie
that you've seen or that you like.
That I've only seen. I've seen one horse movie and then I just stopped.
Well, that's a shame.
Secretariat, more like secretariat crap. That sounded better in my head before I said it. So
yeah. Okay, my number 6 it may be a movie that we also have never mentioned on the show.
Okay.
It's possible. Dolphin Tale.
Oh, I don't even know if I've seen that movie.
Yeah. Actually, Dolphin Tale and Dolphin Tale 2 are on my list at this point.
Okay.
And this is the story about Winter the dolphin, which is a dolphin that lost its tail in a crab trap. And so it was rehabilitated at like a marine center and given an artificial tail.
Okay.
Like a, artificial limb, but for a dolphin tail. And the reason it's on my list is not so much because I love the movie, because the movie is like a family film,
Is this a documentary or like a?
No, this is like a Disney kind of family film with Morgan Freeman as like the wise, marine biologist.
Okay, yeah.
Ashley Judd's in it and stuff like that. But it's because my sister-in-law works at that aquarium and was one of the marine biologists that like nursed Winter back to health.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so there's that family connection. And I believe she's in Dolphin Tale 2 as like an extra.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So I had to throw it on the list as one of my favorite animal performances in movies. And actually, Winter plays themselves in the film.
Themselves.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know Winter's pronouns. But
we're not going to, we haven't asked Winter. So
yeah,
that's smart. Did I tell you one of my bucket list goals is to have my name appear in movie credits?
I didn't know that. I'm sure your name is in movie credits.
No, my name, not just Kyle Peterson, but like me to appear in movie credits.
Sure.
I just think that'd be cool to like be credited somewhere in like, an actual movie, not like some indie your friend made and released on YouTube.
I've had my name in show up in the credits of movies shown in a theater.
Okay.
For like a film festival, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Nothing that was like released.
Yeah.
But just things that were in film festivals.
And you have a better chance of that. Like I'm not even in anything media related whatsoever. So
you're not really working towards this goal.
No. I feel like it's not really on my life path at all. It just would be something that'd be cool to have. So I'm just more hoping like out of serendipity at some point, there's some way my name appears in a movie credits. So it just be cool. Less of a goal, more of a bucket list. We can kind of
keep on trucking.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm doing. I'm gonna truck towards circumstance.
Okay.
All right. My number five is a 1995 movie that has, I'm sure, been discussed on this podcast, and this is Babe. This is a movie about a little pig who doesn't quite know his place in the world. And it's just a very charming movie about a pig that wants to be a sheepdog, correct? Is that what Babe wants to be? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Babe wants to be a sheepdog. And even though he's a pig, who plays the farmer? Famous actor, very tall guy.
Farmer Hoggett.
Sure. What's his name though?
Oh, his James Cromwell.
Thank you. James Cromwell plays the farmer. He's got the famous phrase, "That'll do, pig." Just an incredibly pleasant movie that I really enjoy to watch. And do they have moving mouths in this movie? Are they CG mouths? I guess it's 1995. We weren't trying to animate mouths yet, were we? On animals.
No. So there were absolutely moving mouths.
Okay.
I don't know if they were CG or just like peanut butter.
Or it was peanut. Okay, I think it was peanut butter then. I don't think they were trying to like animate them to say the actual words.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I mean they are matching the words. Like so, I bet it is CG actually.
You think it is?
Because well, it looks like they're saying the words.
It's not like Mr. Ed where he's just kind of chewing his gums.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It looks like they're actually saying the words.
So maybe I don't remember. It's been a while since I've seen this one too. And I can't tell you who played the pig. I don't think it was Hugo Weaving though.
I'm pretty sure it wasn't.
Hugo Weaving did the voice of the shepherd dog, the sheepdog, but I can't tell you the actor who played the actual pig.
Oh, that was Hugo Weaving?
Apparently, yes.
Oh, wow. That's cool. Yeah, that's a border collie.
Oh, yeah, it is a border collie. Oh, Panda.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a border collie.
Yeah, Panda was a great dog.
Growing up.
Yeah.
Panda was a great dog. Yeah, so I've always loved border collies.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that's a big reason why Babe's such a favorite of mine. But, great choice with Babe. My number 5 is Shadow from Homeward Bound: The Incredible Journey. Shadow. There's 2 dogs in this movie and a cat. The other dog is played by Michael J. Fox, but Shadow is the one that I really, really like. I like Shadow a lot, and I think it's a great performance from a dog. Great voice performance. So, Homeward Bound all the way.
Nice. My number 4 is a 1983 Disney movie. Again, there's a theme to a lot of these movies. A lot of them are Disney movies, called Never Cry Wolf. This is a movie about a researcher who's sent on a study to, I believe he's either in Alaska or in Canada, I can't remember exactly where, to study wolves that are menacing like the Northern Territories or Alaska. So he kind of has to like set up camp on his own, observe these wolves, learn about them, and through his time up there, he comes to really respect the wolves as he learns more about their habits, how they hunt, how they exist, and learns that, oh, these aren't menaces. These are just wild animals that we need to respect. So it's another cool movie about man encountering nature and learning about the power of nature.
Nice. I don't think I've seen that.
I think I bet you it holds up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. My number 4 is Phil the Groundhog from Groundhog Day.
Oh yeah.
And I like this little guy. He has to do some stunt roles. Yeah, I like him. And he's maybe the only groundhog that I know by name.
Well, isn't Phil the groundhog also just constantly? Isn't every groundhog Phil who lives in Puxatawny?
Yeah.
Okay, it's a ceremonial title name.
What? No, I mean it's his name. Like they just name that groundhog Phil.
Phil, right? Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
it's not ceremonial if they name it that.
But I'm just saying, like
it's not like it has a real Christian name, like Charles.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, this is Rupert, but now you're Phil because you're here on site.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was baptized as Rupert, but we call him Phil.
Do people baptize pets? Is that a thing?
Well, it shouldn't be, but I'm almost sure that
okay.
some people do. Right. I know in some churches you can take your pet to be blessed by the priest or something.
I have opinions on that. I'll give them to myself.
So do I.
All right. My number 3 is the previously mentioned Homeward Bound: The Incredible Journey. Right, there are 3 dogs in this: Shadow, Chance. Oh, sorry, 2 dogs: Shadow and Chance, voiced by Don Amici and Michael J. Fox, respectively, and then Sassy the cat, voiced by Sally Field. These are 3 house pets who must trek across America after their owners move cross country. They're thought to be lost, and they must make their way home. There's a very emotional moment at the end where you don't know if one of the dogs is going to make it, and it really hits you. And I'm not going to tell you what happens if the dog makes it or not. This movie also features Bart the bear, previously mentioned. At one point, they encounter a grizzly bear. That's Bart the bear. I wanted to make, originally, I kept seeing like Bart the Bear pop up in a couple of my movies. I was like, have I seen 10 Bart the Bear movies? I was going to make that my list. But I've only seen about 4, unfortunately. So,
oh, get on that.
I know. Well, The Edge, I can knock off Bart the Bear and maybe Charlie's Theron, 2 for 1.
Okay, so my number 3 is Snuff, the capuchin monkey from Raiders of the Lost Ark.
I thought about adding this just because he's not like the main character. I left it off.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you added it. Yeah.
Yeah. And first of all, this monkey's awesome. I love this monkey in this film. I'm so glad he's in Raiders of the Lost Ark. He saves Indiana Jones's life. So huge impact. And fun fact, he was voiced by Frank Welker.
Yeah, Frank. I love Frank Welker.
Frank Welker was the voice of Scooby-Doo and Abu from Aladdin.
And Curious George.
Yeah.
And pretty much like every movie with animal sounds is usually Frank Welker.
Yeah.
Like
So I think that is a fun fact.
Yeah, he's the actor you've probably heard the most voice. Like you've heard his voice the most out of any other actor ever.
That's a claim.
It's a claim I can stand by, just because you look at his filmography and you're like, I've seen all these movies. Like, bring up Frank Welker right now. Tell me how many of his movies you've seen.
Okay. Like on Letterboxd?
Yeah, like how many do you have checked?
All right, let me do that.
I'll do the same.
Okay. And it has to be, and your bet is that it's higher than any other actor I could pull up.
Yeah, I bet you see more Frank Welker movies than any other actor.
Well, I'm looking him up, man.
Okay.
Frank Welker, star of 342 films.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see how many of them I have seen. I've seen 50.
I've seen 54.
I'm positive there's actors I've seen more than 50 films of.
You think so?
Yeah, I do.
I know on Letterboxd, the actor who I've seen the most starring roles is Samuel L. Jackson, who's just cracks around 40.
Okay, so how many do you think he's not starring in that you've seen?
So that's the question I need to figure out, is how many non-starring movies have I seen Samuel L. Jackson in? And is it enough to put it over?
Well, I'm just going to go to Samuel Jackson right now and see how many I've seen of his.
Okay. That's the other way to do it.
Because I've seen 50 Welkers. How many Samuel L's have you seen?
I'm bringing him up right now. It is a bit of a journey to get there sometimes.
He's been in 223 films.
Okay, so about 100 less.
And I've seen 49 of his.
Look at that.
So here's the thing.
Okay.
The first person is within spitting distance.
I am still standing by my claim that Frank Welker is the actor you've seen in the most movies or heard.
But are you less confident now?
No.
Because hold on. We picked the person that was on your list for the most number of starring roles.
Yeah.
And he's within a couple. So what if I put the person on my list? He's sure to be over.
Okay, so who's the person on your list of the most starring roles?
Samuel L. Jackson.
I've seen 45 Samuel L. Jackson movies, so I've seen 10 more Frank Welker than Samuel L. Jackson.
Okay, but now I'm going to look up Matt Damon.
Okay, yeah, let's do this.
I'm going to look up Matt Damon, and I'm going to see what's going on.
I think you have a better chance with Tom Hanks or Brad Pitt than we do with Matt Damon.
Yeah, I agree. I can't think of 50 Matt Damon movies.
Yeah, I've seen 35 Matt Damon.
He's only been in 104 films.
Yeah, I mean he's got like a third of Frank Welker's output.
Okay, so I got to find someone that has been in 44 Matt Damons.
44 is impressive though.
Yeah. I've seen 42% of Matt Damon's.
Wow. That get a life.
I'm trying to get the full Damon. This is interesting. I'm going to find someone.
Okay, all right. I'll continue with the podcast here.
Okay, you do that.
You
I
tell
talked
me
about
if
my
you
number
can find
3, Snuff.
So Frank Welker's number is 50 for you, correct?
How many was it? I don't remember exactly.
I think it was 50. Because wasn't Samuel L. Jackson 49?
Probably.
Okay, so I think 50 is your number.
Okay.
While you do that, did you do your number 3 already? Yeah, you did. That was the monkey. That's what got us here. Okay, my number 2 is the previously mentioned Keiko the whale from Free Willy. And you're right. This movie was everywhere. We had this on VHS. We watched it all the time. Yeah, the scene of Willie jumping over Jesse at the very end, because Jesse like puts his hand up. I mean, that scene was lampooned and aped and all sorts of things like The Simpsons and other shows. This movie drove a lot of interest in orcas, probably to their detriment. I'm sure SeaWorld got a lot more popular after this movie came out. But also people learn more about sort of conservation of orcas. And it's I watched this movie recently with my son. He liked it. It's a nice family movie. And I totally forgot that Lori Petty plays the adopted mom. Michael Madsen plays the adopted dad. and Michael Ironside plays the bad guy, the evil owner.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, those are actors who were not registering with me at all when this movie came out. And then to watch again, like, oh, all these people are in this movie. That's kind of cool.
That's awesome. My number 2 is Babe, as mentioned before.
Yeah.
Babe the pig was played by like 30 different pigs because it was filmed over the course of 3 years and they kept aging out. But it was voiced by Christine Cavanaugh, who also voiced Chucky from Rugrats.
Really?
Yeah. And Gosselin Mallard from Tiny Toons.
Gosselin. Which one's Gosselin?
She was like or from Darkwing Duck, maybe.
Oh, Darkwing
she was
Duck. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. My number 1. It's another Disney film, White Fang from 1991. This is starring Ethan Hawke. This is based on a Jack London movie, or no, sorry, Jack London story. Ethan Hawke plays a gold prospector traveling, I think, like to either Alaska or Yukon Territory or something, somewhere to get gold, hit from his father's old mine. He's trying to make it rich, and along the way, he semi-adopts, befriends this half husky, half wolf dog that he names White Fang. And White Fang becomes his best friend and his protector as he's trying to survive his time in the Yukon. Bart the Bear is also in this movie. White Fang, Bart the Bear threatens Ethan Hawke, and then White Fang comes to the rescue to save him. This is a movie where I first learned what a stunt was, because White Fang is trapped inside of I should say the first time, but one of the earlier ideas. White Fang is trapped inside of a cabin, and he jumps through a glass window to get out. And my dad turns to me and says, he didn't really jump through a window. That's a breakaway window that they use for movies. And I was like, oh, what? Like, it's one of those times we realize that movies aren't real. And it didn't ruin the movie for me. It was just kind of like a cool thing to realize. So whenever I think of like stunts, I always think about White Fang the dog jumping through this window, which is a pretty benign stunt. Awesome. And the dog is played by Jed, who also plays the husky in The Thing that they rescue at the very beginning of the movie. That turns out to be The Thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I learned that right now, that they're the same dog.
Okay, my number 1 is not something that I talk about a lot on the show, but as a kid, I was obsessed, and that's Lassie.
Haha.
I love Lassie. I think Lassie is such a cool dog. Has appeared in countless movies and TV shows. Specifically, Lassie Come Home from 1943 is great. There was a black and white TV show with Timmy that was fantastic. I'm a big fan of Lassie and collies in general.
Was it the collie thing, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. They're so smart and helpful.
I mean, are they helpful, or is it Lassie was helpful?
No, Lassie was helpful. Okay. Yeah. I mean, if Timmy's down a well, Lassie's going to go get help.
Timmy doesn't know. He's not good. He can't protect himself. He's not good for his own.
Well, I mean, Timmy lives in a dangerous world of quicksand. What's he going to do? I mean, there's nothing you can do at that point except have Lassie.
The amount of worrying I did about quicksand as a kid versus the amount of times I've encountered quicksand as an adult is way off.
Yeah. There are some things that people talked about a lot more than they do now. Yeah. So yeah, Lassie is my number 1. Love Lassie.
What do you think about the 90s Lassie movie?
Which one was that?
The one from the 90s.
I don't know which one that is.
The one that our entire 6th grade went to go see for 1 year.
I don't remember that at all.
You don't remember going to...
I remember to see Dante's Peak.
I remember seeing Dante's Peak. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, that one. Yeah, we walked to probably Market Square. That's probably the closest one from the school, right? And we
watched this in school?
Lassie?
This Lassie? No, I'm not shocked by like it's inappropriate. I just have no memory of this film.
Yeah, I remember in like 6th grade walking to the movie theater as I assume the whole 6th grade class, but I don't remember. I can't tell you exactly. Maybe it was just like our little cohort, like, so I could be wrong. And we saw Lassie, and it was like either before a break or something like that. It was like a Friday, you know.
Well, I'm
Teachers
super
were-
jealous. I don't remember.
Okay.
I don't remember this film.
Okay. But
Was it awesome?
I remember being like the TV show just at feature length. Like I remember watching the old Nick and Night, you know, black and white Lassie.
Yeah. It's on Blu-ray.
We should pick it up. Get James to keep an eye out for you.
That's fun. There's also on a DVD 5-pack with Lassie, Black Beauty, Polly, Andre the seal
Under
one.
the Seal, yep.
Yeah, and Mouse Hunt.
All classic animal movies. None that appear on this list. I'm surprised. I guess since you didn't do horses, I'm surprised Black Beauty didn't appear on your list.
Yeah, I was purposely avoiding horse films.
Okay. You love a good horse.
I do absolutely love a good horse. Yeah, so that's my list. That's your list.
Nice. Only Homeward Bound and Free Willy, correct?
And Babe.
And Babe. Okay. Okay.
Which I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, I think we have some. You know, we got our own little pet projects. Get it? Pet projects. Right now, this came to me.
Very nice.
Yeah, very nice.
All right, everyone at home, thank you for listening to this episode of the Cinereelists. We talked about Nope in both spoiler and non-spoiler versions. We also did our top 10 animal performances.
I really like this summation of the podcast.
No, I want, yeah, you tell them what you're gonna say it, and then tell them what you told them.
Yeah,
right.
Right.
Kyle's number 10 was no, I'm just kidding. If you have a favorite animal performance or movie with a main animal performance character, we'd love to hear about it. You can email the show at heyguys@cinereelists.com. We will probably read it on the show, unless it's incredibly offensive, like the type of emails that Kyle used to write in before he was a host.
Hey, it got me the job, so
it got you the job. You can find us, the show, at cinereelists.com. That's Cinereelists with an REEL and an S at the end.com, where we have every episode we've ever done all nicely on there. You can also find us on the podcast player of your choice. And if you have an iPhone and if you like leaving us a review, we would love it if you go to Apple Podcasts and leave us a review. You can also find us on Letterboxd and Twitter, Cinereelists. You can follow me on Letterboxd and Twitter at Schaubin.
You can find me on Letterboxd at Peter SKB.
Next week, I do not know what we're talking about because I'm not going to be here.
Oh, you're not going to be here next week.
Yeah, I'm going to be in Wisconsin.
My Wisconsin?
Your Wisconsin on a family reunion.
That's right. You got family vacation.
Yeah.
Excited?
So do you know what you guys are talking about next week?
Do not. No. I know Bullet Train comes out, so that's maybe on the possibility, or maybe we'll find something else. No, I don't really know. James is off hanging out with the dudes, so he's not thinking about us or movies at all.
He's probably watching a movie right now.
Most likely. He actually Discorded us during the podcast.
Oh, yeah, he did. So I went to it during the podcast.
Oh, you did? Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for being an active participant of our podcast. I go,
I
well,
thought
I'm not
you would have
speaking.
supported that because
over
it's
here.
a 2001 thing.
I saw a 2001 thing, but because I respect you and your time, I'm not going to go there right now.
That's not why you didn't go. You didn't go because you would just start drooling and be unable to say any words while processing what you were seeing.
If can you find some way to CG Charlize Theron into 2001: A Space Odyssey?
Yeah.
Then I'll just never.
Trivial.
I would just never leave my house.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll do that right away.
Make her the star baby at the end.
Yeah. Well, why don't you close the show, Kyle?
All right. Thanks for listening. Bye.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.